So now what we're going to do is just go over really quickly navigating around in a Google Classroom. I'm going to tell you a little bit about how you can find your way around inside of your Google Classroom, and then we're going to go and show you a couple of ways that you can interact with it in a very basic way. So again, we're on our homepage, classroom.google.com. I'm going to click on my sample classroom, and I'm going to land on the stream page, which is kind of like my home page. There are really only three options in a Google Classroom of places you can go. You can go to Stream, you can go to Classwork, or you can go to People. We'll start with Stream. Basically, you can do a couple of different things here. This is kind of like your communication page. Anytime a student enters your Google Classroom, they are going to land on that page. I'll show you really quickly what I mean by going to, again, this is the student account that I just brought up. Here's my classroom. I'm going in as a student. Right here is what I see, and so if there are any updates or if there are any things that my teachers want me to know, they're going to be here on this page. And you would basically create them here. We're going to do that a little bit later, but know that your stream page is where you post announcements and reminders. Classwork, that's probably the page where you're going to spend the majority of your time. This is where you drop things like assignments, where you post questions, like maybe a formative assessment or a summative assessment questions. It's where you can post your resources, such as readings and articles and study guides and things like that. And you can also create, which is going to be really helpful later on, are topics, which is a way you can organize all of this information so that it makes sense. So basically, if it's something they need for your class or something you want them to interact with, the Classwork page is the best place for it. And we're going to talk about the other features such as where you get to the Google Calendar and where you can get to your class drive folder, because you get to those both from here. People is another kind of, it's a less general communication page. Essentially, you can do a couple of things here. You can add teachers or co-teachers. This is really helpful if you're working with a teacher that is providing support to some of your students, or if you're working with teachers that are or if you have a co-teacher that you're working with, or maybe a TA you want to give access to your course, you can do that here. Students, once they're added, will all be here, and you can not just communicate with them from this page by emailing them. You can also, once they invite their guardians, it's a good way for you to communicate with parents as well. So that's what happens in the People page. It's like you connect to people with the People page, you post obviously classwork to the Classwork page, and the Stream is where you post announcements and communicate with the class. So those are the basics of the three tabs in Google Classroom.